Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Dustin Heiner. This is the Master Passive Income Podcast. Thank you so much for being here listening with me. Now, in the Master Passive Income Podcast, we talk all about real estate rental properties and how you can invest in properties and make money every single month. Passive income, which puts money in your pocket every single month so that you could eventually quit your job and live the dream life. Now, I personally have traveled all over the world and do not work and I don't need a job because I have my business and it runs automatically for me. Now, I got my business to where it is because I knew how to find profitable income properties, how to find properties that will make me money every single month. Now, in today's podcast session, we're going to be talking all about finding a profitable income property. Anybody can go out and buy a property. But in order to find one that is profitable, that is going to be making you money over the long term as opposed to losing money, that is what we need to do. That's what we need to find if we're going to be able to quit our job with real estate rental properties. Okay, guys, so let's get started. Let's start the show and get to it.
Welcome to the Master Passive Income Podcast, where we talk about investing in real estate rental properties with a special focus on making enough money so you can quit your day job and live the dream life. And now, here's your host, a guy that loves to eat sushi, especially if it is all you can eat, Dustin Heiner.
All right, now let's get started. Now, today I have something special for you. A little while ago, I did a webinar for a company, a paid webinar where their customers pay them, and I did the webinar for them. And I did this webinar where I shared how to find a profitable income property. You know, a property that produces income, that goes in your pocket, positive, passive income coming in your pocket every single month. Now, even though this was a paid webinar, I'm giving it to you for free. I want you to get the same information so you can change your life with real estate rental properties. Now, it is easy to find a property and just buy a property, but to find a good one, that's a deal, that's actually going to make you money every single month, that's not going to be a headache to you, those are harder to find. You need to know what to look for. Now, in today's podcast session, I'm going to give you the entire webinar for free so you can listen to it. Now, as we're doing that, I want you to quickly go over to my website. I want you to get my free course as well as watch this webinar. I actually have this entire webinar in video form so that you can watch it on my website show notes. So if you go to the show notes page, masterpassiveincome.com/032. This is episode number 32, 032. If you go there, you will find the actual webinar. You'll be able to see all the video slides that I created. You'll be able to see some other things in there that I didn't actually keep inside the webinar because it's a little longer, but you'll be able to see all of that in there as well. So now, on top of that, what I wanted to give you also is a free investing course. If you haven't got my free investing course, go ahead and go there and get my free investing course. On my show notes page, you'll have the ability to get that free investing course. But if you just want to go and get the free investing course right now, go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course. That will get you your free course, get you started looking at how you can change your life with real estate rental properties. Now, let's get into the show, into this webinar where I actually walk you through step by step how to find a profitable income property. And remember, go to my show notes page so you can watch the entire video and see all the slides and see everything in its entirety and get to change your life with real estate rental properties. And I'll come back and talk to you after this webinar is over. All right, guys, let's start it up. Hi, everyone. Well, I'm so excited to be here, and thank you, Alexandra, for putting this on. So, yeah, like she was saying, my name is Dustin Heiner. I'm the founder of Master Passive Income, and right now we're going to be going through how to identify a profitable income property. Now, I've been investing in rental properties for a very long time. I don't think like 12 years now. And I started and I bought one property and then I bought another and kept buying more and more. Made every mistake I possibly could. But let's go through the things that I've learned in my many years of investing in rental properties. So again, first, my name is Dustin Heiner, and I want to give this quote that Andrew Carnegie said. He said, 90% of all millionaires became so through owning real estate. Now, I would absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. I've tried my luck at the stock market. I did my research. I tried to figure out how to make money through the stock market, and every time I lost money. I was really good at buying high and selling low, which is absolutely not what you want to do. So I was really good at that. Anyway, so I went into real estate because I started realizing that I wanted to make monthly income, and I wanted to make money every single month as opposed to earning money from a job. So let me show you a little bit about me. So that's my wife and my lovely kids on the left-hand side. So a little bit about me. Again, I'm Dustin Heine, the founder of Master Passive Income. I grew up in Fresno, California, right in the center. If you think north, south, east, and west of California, that's a very dead center of California. Great place to live and grow up. I currently live in Phoenix, Arizona. Moved here to be closer to my wife's parents. They're getting older, and it'd be great to be around them, my kids to be around them. Quick little thing, I moved here. I didn't actually need to find a job because all my rental properties bring in enough money where I could literally live anywhere, and we're choosing Phoenix right now. So married to my lovely wife, Melissa, 12 years now. Praise the Lord. And raising 4 super fun kiddos. They're fantastic. They are a joy. Right now, they're actually at their grandparents' house, so you probably won't hear them running around in the background. I've started many businesses, even a retail business where I had opened for 4 years and sold the business. So I love entrepreneurship. I love business. I began investing in real estate in 2007, so just before the crash. So if you remember 2008, 2008 was going great. 2009, the crash hit, and I just started buying properties then. So it wasn't the best time to buy properties because I was buying high. But anyways, in 2016, I actually quit my job because I have enough income from my rental properties to live the life of my dreams. So also, we love to travel all over the world. My family, last year, we flew to, in March, we flew to Japan, did a 6-week vacation around Japan, traveled all through the south of America, south in America through Texas and everything. And in fact, just in 20 days, we're going to be going to Europe for 6 weeks, traveling all from England to Scotland, Ireland, Netherlands, Germany, all that sort of stuff. So we love traveling. We love being together. But the greatest thing is with my rental properties, buying good income properties, I can actually do all this stuff remotely, as well as if you do it right, the business can run itself. You have other people run your business for you. So I literally don't need to be in my house or anywhere near. I could be in another part of the world and still run my business. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Let me show you also how I bought my first 19 properties. Now, this is how I did it. You might have different ways to do it. This is how I do it. So I started buying really, really cheap properties. So in 2007, bought my first property for $17,000 cash. Took all of my wife and my life savings and bought it for $17,000 cash. It was in another state. So I lived in California, bought the house in Ohio, and started renting it out immediately. And so the good thing was back in 2007, I could refinance the property. So I refinanced the property, took out $15,000 because banks were just giving money away. Took out $15,000, and then in October bought property number 2 for $10,000. So I had a little money left over, but that rented for $550. So look, in just 1 year, I had $1,000 coming in minus expenses. I think we were probably pocketing about $700 to $800. Anyways, refinanced that property and took out another $20,000. And in April of 2008, bought my third property for $10,000 cash and kept renting. So I'm gonna go through these really quick. June, bought another one. September, bought another one. So in 2008, I bought, 4 properties. Then 2000, another one, 5. So I just kept buying properties. And here's a little funny thing. So if you look at the property number 7 and number 6 and 7, I actually bought that with a credit card. If you can imagine, since these are cheaper priced homes, I thought of any way to make money. So I actually I had a letter from a bank that said, hey, we're going to give you 0% interest on this. Sorry, it wasn't 0. It was like 0.75% interest on the life of the cash out balance. And they gave me a credit limit of $14,000. And I said, all right, that's cheap money. I'm going to buy properties. So I bought 2 properties with them, and that made me $1,000 a month. So let's keep going through these. So March, bought more. July, bought more. as you can see, the way I'm buying them is through or is with cash, but then also buying really inexpensive homes, really cheap homes. Now, there's a lot of hassles that come with the cheap homes, which we could talk about later. It's a whole another lesson. But buying cheap homes, how to actually rent them right and make money and live off of them, it's a whole other story. So let's keep moving on. So in 2011, bought more properties, kept buying more. And again, you're going to get these slides so you can see if you want to kind of go through it. But I actually went through all of my HUD statements, all of my, title closing, and actually got the dates and got exactly how much prices. So keep going through all these. And so I want to say November 2015 was when I bought my 19th property. And so obviously I've still continued to buy properties. And in fact, I want to say 3 weeks ago, I just bought 3 single family homes and 1 duplex in one purchase from another investor who wanted to sell and get out. It was a fantastic deal. It was cash down, seller financing. Anyways, great deal. So I could tell you more about that at some other time. So that's how I quit my job, is after working that hard in just 8 years, I had $9,500 in gross rents. After all those properties, every single month they were bringing in a total of $6,500 in monthly net profit. So $6,500 net monthly profit. I was talking to my wife and I said, hey, we're bringing us money and, I still have my job. I'd rather not work. And I asked her, if I didn't work, how much money would we need to bring in order to live, with our mortgage, our food bills, doctor bills, insurance, all that sort of stuff. And it turned out I think we needed like $4,200. And so I thought, why am I still working? If I'm making way above that, why do I want to still slave away at a dead-end job? So anyways, that was me in just 8 years. I was able to quit my job, and now I solely invest. And I also am really passionate about teaching people, because I get a lot of people asking me, how come you don't have a job? And I tell them about real estate, and they ask, well, how do I do it? And I say, well, let me show you. Anyways, okay, so I want to give you basically teaching you the key to a profitable income property. So if you think about what income property is, it's something that brings money in every single month into your pocket, not taking money out of your pocket. Like your personal residence, well, if you're on this webinar, you probably already know most of this stuff, but your personal residence does not put money in your pocket unless you're literally renting out every single room and trying to make a profit off of that. But if just you and your family are living there, you're paying your mortgage, and that mortgage is taking money out of your pocket. Well, the key to a profitable income property is that you're putting money into your pocket every single month. So let me give you the key here. The key is to buy good investments, not good properties. That is one of the main keys that you want to take away. If you listen to anything today, this is one of the best things you can learn, is buy a good investment, not a good property. I mean, you could find a property that takes $100,000 worth of work to fix it up. But if you buy it for $100,000, fix it up for $100,000, and it's worth $400,000, well, you made a profit, as well as you could rent it for really cheap. All that to say, you don't want to look for the best properties. You don't want to look for one that you're going to move into. You don't want to look for one that you say, well, this one has nice drapes and nice shutters, and you can look at how pretty the carpet is. Don't worry about any of that, because you can change that. What your goal is to buy good investments. And in doing that, you're going to actually make money every single month. A good investment, and we'll talk about this in just a second, will make you money every single month. Okay, so let's look at the criteria for a profitable investment property, an income property or investment property. Remember, we're getting good investments, not good properties. So let me ask you a question. Wouldn't it be good to buy a property that gives you the greatest rate of return? You put your money down, and how much money you get back, that's your rate of return, gives you the greatest rate of return. Also, wouldn't it be great to buy a property that makes you money from the first day you buy it? Right when you buy it, you could rent it out and make money. Wouldn't that be great, where you're making money from the very first day? Also, when you want a property that the majority of renters want to live in, like they say, yes, I want to live in that property. Also, families desire to rent it. I'm going to tell you right now, my favorite tenants are families. I love families that move in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many kids. But when they have kids, usually they live where their schools are, and they live where they work. And when they have an anchor being a school and a job, they don't move out of that home very often. And we know turnover, and when turnover is basically when a tenant moves out and you got to get somebody in there, that costs money. And I don't like that. I want to make as much money as I can, as least amount as expenses. So anyways, families want to rent this type of property. Now, it wouldn't also be good to have a property that has the least amount of expenses coming out of your pocket, because expenses take money out, income brings money in. You want to have as little amount of money coming out of your pocket. Also, it's less expensive to fix up. When you buy the property, you have less money coming out of your pocket just to fix it up, getting it ready to rent. Also, costs less to maintain. So, everything from taking care of the plumbing to electrical and all that sort of stuff, it costs less. What about, wouldn't it be great to have a property that the majority of home buyers want to buy? If you are saying it's time for me to move out of this one rental property that I have, I'm going to sell it because I have a better deal over here that may be a multifamily, I'm buying an apartment complex or whatever it might be. I want to sell this house, but wouldn't it be great to have a house that every buyer or majority of the buyers want to buy? Well, let me give you the best type of property to buy when you're looking at single family homes. You want to buy a single family home that's a cookie cutter type home. When I say cookie cutter, it's run of the mill, any type of property that is, in a suburb that is a not complex, sorry, that's not the right way to say it, but it's just in a neighborhood that is normal for every single person. So a cookie cutter home would be a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage, 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. Now, this is your cookie cutter type home that, as we went through the list, you're going to get everybody want to rent, everybody that is going to want to eventually buy a property. There's a lot of less costs and expenses. So this is the cookie cutter type home. I'm going to tell you that I bought homes that are like double this size and many more rooms and more bathrooms, and it's very expensive, and you don't get that much more money out of rent. So let me explain a little bit more. The cookie cutter home, imagine you have less walls to paint. There's less square footage. There's less everything about a property that's less expenses coming out of your pocket. So less walls to paint. So fewer bathrooms to repair. If you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, that you have 2 toilets to fix. You have, 2 just normal sinks to fix, 2 plumbing, 2 bathtubs. But if you add a whole nother bathroom, a 3rd bathroom in there, it literally does not raise, in my opinion, I've never seen it raise the value of my rent. Like, I can't get more rent just because there's 1 extra bathroom. But what it does do is it gets many more expenses, more, clogged toilets, more problems, because I have an extra bathroom to repair. There's more plumbing, there's more electrical, there's more fixtures, all that sort of stuff. Also, less electrical problems. If you have fewer square footage, you have fewer lines of wires and light switches and all that sort of stuff, and light fixtures. You have less electrical problems. Less carpeting to replace, just flooring, you have less square footage in general of, if it's $1 a square foot to put flooring down, well, if you have a 2,400 square foot house, just the cost of the materials alone is going to be $2,400, and on top of how much they're going to cost to put it in. So fewer doors to fix, fewer windows to get broken and repair and replace. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,400 square feet, 2-car garage is large enough for a family. Remember, we like families, or at least my opinion is I love having families in my properties. There's also a larger pool of renters. This is a normal house that people really like to have, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. I'm gonna keep saying that because I'm gonna probably drill it in your head. 1,400 square feet. Also, dollar for dollar, the best return on your investment, because if you buy a house that's 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom, 2 or 3-bath, you're gonna pay a lot more money, but the amount of rent is only gonna increase maybe by $50 to $100, $200 at best. You're not gonna dramatically increase. So the price of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 1,200 to 1,400 square feet is going to be lower, and you're going to get a good return for it in the rent. Also, you also have a larger pool of buyers, more people that would actually buy the property when it's time for you to get out. So it's all in all, the cookie cutter type home is the best, in my opinion, the best. I've done smaller, if you have 2 bedrooms, you have less people that want to rent it or less people that want to buy it. If you have, a 900 square feet, families don't like to fit, they can't really fit, or they don't like living in there. So let me give it to you one more time. So the cookie cutter type home is 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage, 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. This is my experience has shown this is the way I make the most money. Okay, now let's jump into the criteria for a profitable investment property. So number 1, cash flow from monthly rent. Now, if you get into, if you're already into it, and if you're thinking about getting into it, the cash flow is the best way that you make money. Now, we're going to make money many different ways, from the appreciation of value, all that we're getting into in just a second. But the cash flow is what's going to be putting money into your pocket. That's what I live on. That's what my family, that's how I feed my kids, is the cash flow from the monthly rent. So when you buy your rental properties, you must buy them in such a way that you can earn cash flow from day one. You want to make sure that you can get a property and that you actually make money every single month. So, and basically, as you probably already know this, but I'm going to go through it. The rent minus expenses is your cash flow for the property. Rents minus expenses. So rent, how much money you're bringing in, add up all your expenses, everything. If you have a property manager, if you have utilities you got to pay for, whatever it might be, and even a mortgage, you deduct that. So let's just say, round numbers, rent $1,400 a month from a tenant, total expenses $1,050. Well, your net profit would be $350 coming into your pocket every single month. Wouldn't that be fantastic? I mean, my life was dramatically changed when I had my first property, an extra $350 or $400 a month. My life was dramatically changed by that. Getting that first property, it got me excited to get the next property and then get the next property after that. So let me give you a pro tip. Only buy properties that make you $250 or more every single month. In my opinion, they're not hard to find, properties that make you $250 or more. But what happens is, if you go below that, you tend to start to lose money. And the reason why is the property is not going to be rented all year long, every single day of the year. You might have a turnover. You might even have an eviction. You might have a furnace that goes out. This is your profit that you can put towards the rest of the year. And so imagine that if you're making $100 a month, well, after just $100 a month that you're bringing in, it's actually not going to make you enough money to pay for any expenses. Or if you have an eviction, if you have one time where you don't have anybody that is in the property, if you have a mortgage, that mortgage is going to cost you $1,000, $1,200. Well, that eats up a lot of your profit right then and there. So all that to say, your pro tip I'm going to give you is you want to buy a property that has $250 or more every single month. All right. So number 2, your criteria for a profitable investment property is you want equity in the property. You don't want to lose money. You want to make money every single month. So with equity. So equity in the property is valued by how much you can sell the property for minus how much you owe on the property. So the market value being $200,000, the amount owed is $150,000. The equity you have in the property is $50,000. Now that's equity, it's not money in your pocket, but what I did when I bought my first property, I actually refinanced it. If you remember that list, refinanced it, pulled the money out, so then I could then buy a property. And I could then buy another property after that. So all that to say, equity in the property is one of the best ways for you to be able to increase the value of your home, as well as use that money to buy more properties. Now, let me also give you a pro tip. You make your money when you buy the property on a purchase of property. You make your money when you buy. You realize your money when you sell the property. That makes sense. So when you buy the property, buying the property is really when you capture all that equity. You capture the buying low and selling high, just like in the stock market. So you realize your money when you sell it. So if you sell it for $100,000 more than you bought it for, that's when you actually put that money in your pocket. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So number 3, criteria for a profitable investment property. Location, location, location. Now, we've all heard this saying, right? If we're thinking about an investment property, an income property. The criteria for a profitable investment property, well, if you've heard this saying, I'm going to say absolutely forget that. This is my own personal opinion and my experience after many years of buying many properties. I have properties all over the country. I have properties that when I was in California, I started buying in Ohio and Texas and Arizona. And so I just started buying properties outside of California because it was really expensive. And I started realizing it's not about location. And here's the reason why. So forget about location. We're not realtors. We're not homeowners when we buy our investment properties. We're not looking to use this as a place to live in, and we're not looking at it as a place to flip. This is something that we're going to be making money every single month. We're investors in rental properties. We're not looking to flip a property. We're not looking to live in it. So the location only matters where no one will live. Like if you're going to buy a home in the Antarctic where nobody would literally want to rent that property, well, that'll be a waste of money. But if you're going to buy a property that, let's say, people might think, well, why would anybody want to live in Fresno? Well, there sure are people that live in Fresno. Or I have properties in Ohio that there are some like Akron, Youngstown, Cleveland, Boardman, a lot of different cities that people might say, well, why would anybody want to live there? Well, there are people living there. And as long as there are people living there, you're going to be able to make money as long as you buy the property right. So again, location. My opinion is forget that. As long as you can make money every single month, everybody, literally every single person, it's one of the needs. They need to have a place to live. So rule of thumb for location, your pro tip is never buy a property where you will not make money the first day you own the property. So some people have said, well, I'm going to buy this property and in 10 years, it's going to appreciate and that's when I'm going to make my money. Well, that's all well and good, but I'm an investor. I like having money come in my pocket every single month. So I'm not going to go through with that. I'm going to actually make sure I buy and get money from the very first day I buy it. Okay. Criteria number 4 is forced appreciation. So find properties that need work so you can increase the value. So you can do things like that will increase the value of your home, like paint, flooring, landscaping, new countertops, etc. So you want to be able to force the appreciation of the value to go up. So give you an example, market value of $120,000, then you put money into the property, so rehab costs be $15,000. Well, you're looking at your total cost of everything after said and done is $135. Sorry, $135,000. I apologize for that. $135,000. Well, after the repairs, your value, the ARV after repair value is $165,000, which would be an increased value of $30,000. Now, if you've seen any of those home flipping shows on HGTV or any other TV, you can understand the idea that you buy low, fix it up, get the value higher, and then make your money. Well, this is a great way for us to increase the value so we can pull more money out, refinance the property, pull more money out, and then put that money into a new property, a brand new property that makes us even more money. I've done this many, many times. Okay, so this is forced appreciation. Also, let me give you another pro tip. You want to buy good investments. Don't buy the best house on the street. When I say that is, you look on the street or the general neighborhood, if you're buying the very, very best house on the street, well, the rents aren't going to be that much greater. Like if it's completely remodeled, it's a fantastic home, looks terrific, but every other home in the area doesn't look like it. It's not as good. It's not as nice. You paid a lot of money for it. You may have paid a lot of money for it. Well, your rent is only going to be what it's like the next door or the next door after that. It's only in a certain radius that your rents are going to be. So my opinion is don't buy the best house on the street, but because we have forced appreciation, we can fix it up to look really nice, get the value up. So you can put your sweat into it, or my opinion, I love hiring contractors and hand him in and have them do all the work while I go and go on vacation. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Criteria number 5, rentability. So a rental property is only good if you can rent it to a paying tenant. Obviously, if you buy, back in, was it 2009, where they couldn't give away the properties in Detroit, the homes in Detroit, they literally could not give it away. Nobody would actually rent there. So that might not be the best. It very well, it could. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying you want to find a property that you will get a paying tenant from day one. So how to find good areas. So how do you find good areas that have rentable properties that tenants want to rent? Well, I invest all over the country, and this is what I do, is I talk to property managers, realtors, inspectors, handymen, basically anybody, and also obviously other investors, anybody about the area, because in my area where I currently live, I know about it. But if I'm looking at Idaho, I want to buy a house in Idaho, and I've never been there. Well, then I need to talk to other people. So you find good areas, but your number one person that you could talk to, or number one and number two, your number one person, your property manager. Number two would be your realtor. And I would say get an investing realtor, one that knows how to invest, that knows how to invest for cash flow, not just a realtor that, nothing against somebody who has a second job, but it could be a teacher that needs to make extra money, which good for them. They become a realtor and they sell homes. That's great. I don't want somebody that sells homes. I don't care about the drapes or the shutters. I care about how much money I'm going to make every single month. So they're doing a great job making more money for them. But I look for realtors that are selling homes, that knows what it's like to have a real estate business. But here's your number one person to talk to: property managers. I've gone into areas where I've started talking to property managers. I say, so what about this area? Those prices of those homes are pretty inexpensive. What about those? And they'll say, this is what the property manager has told me. I literally will not manage any properties in there. The crime is bad. This is bad. Something happens, or, I just won't do in there because it's not worth my time. It's not worth me getting hurt, or whatever it might be. So talk to property managers to see which areas are the best for rentability. All right. Criteria 6 for a profitable investment property: clientele. Now, the rent range for the property, it varies. So let's just give you an example. If you have a high end in one certain area, the high end of the rent for a 3-bedroom, cookie cutter, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage, 1,200, 1,400 square feet. If you have that, you have the high end of $1,400, a middle range of $1,200, and a low end of $1,000. Now, if you go like to Zillow.com, or if you try to figure out what type of rent, if you talk to a realtor or property manager, they say, well, we could, the high end is probably going to be $1,400, low end, $1,100, maybe $1,000. So the rent range for a normal property can fluctuate, I'd say, anywhere from $400 to $200, something like that. Give this example: $1,400 to $1,000 in difference. So the upper classes, so your clientele, if they're upper class, or they have a little more affluence or more money, you have higher end rents can be charged in these areas. And this is from my own personal experience, because the properties, the cheaper homes that I bought that were $10,000, this is a lower class area where it's really depressed market, which I'll get to in a second. But in upper class, where I do also have properties where it's upper class, you get higher end rents can be charged in these areas. So you look at your clientele and see how you can actually charge. Now, also middle class, if you go to a general middle class, like I would say in the middle of Phoenix, there's more middle class people in the middle of Phoenix. So you get middle range rents can be charged. So about $1,200 for this one particular property. But if you go to a lower class, it might be even $1,000. So a lower end of rent spectrum can be charged. So keep this in mind, because if you charge middle class rents for a lower class area, you're going to find lower class people move in, and this is my own personal experience. They're going to move in, but they're going to move out within 6 months or a year. You're going to find some place that's cheaper for them, and I completely understand it. If they could save $50 a month on their rent, they're going to move. And you don't want them to move. You want to lower the amount of time that you have of the turnover. So what I do is, wherever I'm renting, I look at my clientele and also figure out how much I can rent from a property. If a property manager says you can rent from $1,400 to $1,000 or $1,000 to $1,400, I look at the area and see what type of clientele, and I adjust accordingly. Because the last thing I want is to be in a low end thinking and buying a property thinking I'm going to rent it for $1,400, but only be able to get $1,000 out of it. So that's another one for you. Here, let me give you another pro tip. Always, now this is for clientele, and not just because it's with AAOA, but my own personal experience. I've been burned many times. Always. Let me do that one more time. Always run a background check, eviction check, credit check, background check. Always. Let me give you an example. So I was really irritated how I kept having turnover. I kept having people having to evict them. These lower class areas where it's much more depressed market. There was a lot of turnover, and I started realizing I'm not doing a background check on these people. And so I started doing background checks, and I started watching to see what type of people would actually be a good tenant to be in my property. And so anyways, I got one background check came back to me. The application from the tenant looked fantastic. She had, said she had great employment, great living history, all that sort of stuff. So the background check, the application that she filled out and gave me looked fantastic. Well, I ran a background check. And I'll tell you this, in this one area, my property manager said, well, these tenants are not going to pay for a background check, so you can't force them, or you're just not going to get anybody to apply if you force them to pay for it. And so I just paid for it myself because I got tired. I started thinking, well, a background check's what's going to cost me, $30, $40. Well, if it saves me one eviction, an eviction might be $1,500 to $2,000 or $2,500. $3,500 to save me one eviction is well worth it. So what I did was I ran a background check on this lady, and in 3 years, she had 4 evictions on her record. I was blown away. I said, I'm not going to be the 5th eviction. I'm going to move on. I found somebody else. So always, always, always do a background check. I can't stress that enough. All right. So number 7. Crime. So criteria for looking for a profitable investment property. Crime is definitely a big one. With low crime areas, which I would say every part of the country has crime, literally you're not going to get one that has no crime, but you're going to get some more than others. So low turnover, lower amount of evictions. So with turnover, somebody would move out and give you the keys. With low crime and say, hey, I'm moving out. But you would maybe have evictions, but you have a lot less problem tenants, less break-ins, less repairs on the property. This is just how it works out. It's sad, but that's just the way it works out. Crime. So the people that live in the higher crime area that are more moderate, there would be more turnovers, more evictions that are likely. They also have more. You'll also have more problem tenants, which would be a bummer. But in more problem tenants, you have a few break-ins, not a lot, but you have a few break-ins, moderate repairs on the property because of break-ins, because of the type of tenants you're going to have in there. Now here's the high end, high turnover. So you're going to get people turning over maybe once a year at best. I mean, you might get somebody that's in there for 5 years, but that's a rarity. With high turnover, you get a lot more high crime, you get a lot more turnover. Evictions are high. They're not willing to just give you the keys and walk out. They're going to stick in there until you evict them. Trust me, I've been there many times. So more problem tenants, many break-ins, like when it's not rented, you're going to have somebody break in and actually steal the copper. I've had this many times. Steal the copper out of the basement and recycle it, make $5, but it costs me $300 to replace it and repair it. So break-ins, high repairs needed on the property. So what I would tell you is that you just look at the crime rate for the area. There's many different ways. I'm not going to get into how you could figure that out, but talk to your property manager, talk to realtors. Now here's something I want to give you. Let me jump back. So here's a pro tip. I didn't have a slide for it, but a pro tip is try to look at and try to understand how the crime is moving. Back 10 years, 12 years ago, or however long when I started investing, a few houses that I bought were in a decent area. But over 10 years, the crime has now moved to where my area that was low to moderate is now moderate to high. And one street in particular is high crime. And I'm really obviously sad about that. I'd like to see it. I'm trying to help people out. Anyways, all that long story short, try to anticipate where it's going to move to and keep that in mind, because if it moves to where now your place that was low is now moderate, or now was moderate and now high, your rents are going to decrease, and so that's going to eat into your profits. All right, next one. The 8th criteria is property taxes. Oh, this irritates me bad. So property taxes are not standard across the country. Every state has different laws and rates. Every county has different laws and rates, and every city has different laws and rates. So verify all the taxes you will encounter before you buy the property. So you want to get all your expenses all put together before you actually buy the property, so you know how much, as best you can, your expenses are going to be. I'm going to give you an example. So everywhere I've invested, I won't say everywhere, the majority of the places I've invested, there's county taxes, and the county taxes are the most money. And very few places have actually had city taxes. Well, so I bought a house in Houston, and I checked out the county taxes. I'm like, great, county taxes are, I don't know, I think it was like $1,300 a year. I was like, that's not bad. Okay, I'm going to make a lot of money on this property. I'm going to make like $500 a month, $600 a month in passive income. And then I get once I buy the house, I see now, I get a letter that there's also city taxes of like $2,500 a year. My jaw hit the ground. I could not believe, I'm laughing now because, I actually still make money. I think I make like $300 a month from it, but it's so irritating that I actually had city taxes that were dramatically, like almost double, probably double what it was for the county. All that to say, verify all the taxes, look everywhere. I wish I would have done this before I bought this property. I would have, done some different things. All right, let's move on. Last thing, make sure they are in your numbers before you buy the property, all your expenses, meaning taxes included. All right, so 9. So area specifics. This is another way to figure out if your property is going to be profitable or not. So the job market, are there jobs coming in or going out of the area? If they're going out of the area, you're losing money. There's less pool of tenants less people that have jobs, and that less pool of tenants, which makes values go down of rent because less people have jobs to pay rent. So demand is lower, and so you have less rent. Also, your city, county, and state economy. Like, how is the economy in the certain area? It could be city, county, or state. Look at that. Also, the schools, the amenities. Like if there's, let me jump back to school. So we love to rent to families, and families love schools that have good schools for their kids. They obviously want the best for the kids. So schools are a very, very big criteria. Like in Phoenix, where I live, there's a few retirement communities that there would not be any families because there's literally no schools. They don't even pay taxes for schools because there's literally no schools in those cities. So keep that in mind. You want to look at the schools in the area. Amenities as well, like Disneyland, the beach, or the mountains, sports teams in the area. Like I live in Phoenix, where we have a lot of sports teams, like the Cardinals, that the football team, the Cardinals are here. You also have spring ball, where all baseball teams come in here and play because it's beautiful weather right now. Anyways, it's fantastic outside. Hopefully you're not where it's snowing. But anyways, so look for amenities, and places like Disneyland or on the beach or the mountain. You might even be able to use Airbnb or something like that, so that you can make even more money. So look at the amenities so you can see how you can actually adjust how much rent comes in. Also natural disasters. Again, I'm going to give you, so hurricanes and earthquakes, a personal thing. So in the area that I invest in Houston, obviously we know this last year we had a hurricane that went through there. Praise the Lord, my house did not get flooded, but it got so close that it was like literally down the street, and the tenants saw the water getting closer and closer and closer. So keep that in mind, because you may need to buy hurricane insurance. Like in Houston, my area it's not required, but other areas it's absolutely required to buy hurricane insurance. Or there could be, in California, the San Andreas Fault, earthquake insurance you might need. Okay, so let me recap. Monthly cash flow, equity capture, location, and cross that out. It only matters if nobody's going to rent there or nobody's going to live there, because everybody needs a place to live. Forced depreciation, rentability, clientele, property taxes, and area specific. So these are the things that you want to look for when you're buying a property. And you can go back and watch the video, but I want you to keep these in mind as you're going to look for a new property, because as you're going to run your numbers, you want to make sure you make money every single month, as well as you're not going to lose money, because I'll be honest with you, there is a way to literally never lose money in real estate. Now, income goes up and down, expenses go up and down, but if you do it right, if you know how to invest properly, you will never lose money in real estate. Sweet. Okay, guys, now we are all done with that webinar. I hope you got a lot out of it. I know it took me years and years and years to find out what a profitable income property looked like, how to find it, and all that sort of stuff, because it is trial and error for me from the very beginning. But you don't have to take the trial and error approach. You can take my mistakes and implement them into your business, and not actually go through the mistakes, but learn from my mistakes so that you can make money with your real estate rental properties, as opposed to me, where I lost money. So take all of my lessons learned that I put out in this webinar, apply it to your business so that you can change your life with real estate rental properties. Remember, go to my show notes page, masterpassiveincome.com/032. On my show notes page, you'll be able to see the webinar in its entirety. You'll see everything there, and you'll also be able to sign up for my free course. Get there, get started investing in real estate by getting knowledge, by getting training, because you need to have the knowledge so you can not waste money and throw money away because you didn't know what you're doing, just like I did. So go to masterpassiveincome.com/032, watch the entire webinar, and I have extra stuff in there as well for you. And if you also want to get the free course, just get that, masterpassiveincome.com/free course. All right, guys, you take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you next week. Hope you guys have a great week. Start investing, getting out there, finding properties. You take care of yourselves. See ya.